Today on Business Success in Six with Stacie, I have Don Jocks here from Milwaukee Paws and Canine Einstein in Milwaukee, Wisconsin. Don, thanks for jumping on with me.
Thank you. No problem.
If you don't mind, I would love to ask you 6 questions about your business. And you can actually talk about both your businesses and your experience. I know there are so many canine lovers out there and so many people that need to get more educated about not only what you do, but what you can offer and how you can help people. So is that okay if I ask you some questions?
Yes, of course. Bring it on.
All right, here we go. When people ask you what Milwaukee Paws and Canine Einstein do, how do you describe your businesses?
So we provide personalized pet care through with a focus on enrichment and training to help strengthen the bond between pet and pet owner.
Awesome. And so Milwaukee Paws does what portion, or I mean, you bring that element into both of them, but
Correct.
Milwaukee Paws, can you break them down a little bit more for us?
Yeah, of course. So Milwaukee Paws is our dog walking pet sitting arm of the business. It was started first and about 5 years ago with a focus on personalizing our care plans for each of the dogs that we walk, bringing in enrichment from sniffy walks and puzzles and that kind of stuff. I have a background in healthcare and had worked in home healthcare and knew the importance of like the choices we make early in life, how they help us age, and thought that
Mm.
has to be with dogs too. And as I started the dog walking business, did a lot of research and found that to be true. So we, from day one, focused in on enrichment and allowing the dog to be who they are. So Canine Einstein opened just this past March. After becoming a dog trainer a few years ago, we opened Canine Einstein. It's a private canine gym and a dog training facility in Bayview. And that is focused very strongly on bringing enrichment and play to how we train the dogs and helping owners kind of learn about their dogs and what their dogs' needs are and what the dog's genetics are telling us, and all of that. We don't just create obedient dogs, we work with the owners and the dogs to create stronger relationships.
That is absolutely beautiful and so needed. And I think about all the buzz with the COVID puppies and all these people
Yep.
who got animals over the past 3 years, and life has changed so much for them. And how can we make sure that the animals and their pet owners are doing well with that? So thank you for doing that.
Of course. Thank you.
So let me ask you, what were your plans when you started your business and how has that changed? So you just opened up Canine Einstein in March, but you've had
Yep.
a longer history. Would you love to share that with us?
Yeah, of course. So we started Milwaukee Paws kind of on a whim. I think I shared with you. I was in healthcare. I was a social worker for 26 years, and our dog walker was leaving and had mentioned I'd be good with this. So I kind of jumped in before telling my husband with both feet and was like, I'm opening a business. I'm going to walk dogs for a living. And God bless him because he was very supportive. It was just like, let's figure it out. And at the time, I thought it would just be me and I would just walk dogs and make a few extra dollars and so be it. But we have grown beyond what I could have ever expected us to grow. And in that process, I wanted to make sure we kept our focus on enrichment training, positive reinforcement in an unregulated industry. I wanted to make sure we were one of the ones doing it right. So we now have 17 staff that walk dogs. I have 2 other trainers with us. We do have an office manager who will be starting at Canine Einstein in the next few weeks. All are trained in things like fear-free practices. We're all trained in pet first aid and CPR, and our trainers train our staff on things like body language and leash handling so that everything we do comes at it from a perspective of being positive. So
Yeah.
um, we opened Canine Einstein to get that focus in and to be able to help pet owners understand how important enrichment is and how important it is to meet each individual dog's needs to help solve some of the behavior issues. That not every behavioral issue is a behavioral issue. Sometimes it's a need that we're not meeting for our pets.
Isn't that interesting? Yeah. And you did share a little bit about that. And I think about, the same way. So you're a social worker, in the same way that we go and treat our children is we need
Yep.
to meet them where they're at. These are also an extension of our family. And if we're creating a harmonious atmosphere with them and meeting their needs, it's really going to meet everybody's needs in the home as well.
Absolutely. Absolutely. It's a relationship that we have with our pets, just like any other relationship. So, more and more science, we used to think animals weren't sentient beings. Science is showing us that's not true. They have their own emotions, their own feelings. We used to think dogs lived in the exact moment they were in and didn't remember things. We know that's not true now.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
And I did not know that. That's very interesting.
Yeah.
That's what
Yeah.
people
So
tell
dogs,
you still. Like, oh, they
yep.
won't remember. Yeah.
Yeah, so dogs they remember their past, they have favorite humans, they have preferences. Every dog's their own sentient being. So, bringing together what they were bred for and what their genetics tells us, what they have learned, what their current environment is, and their sentient selves together can really help us create a treatment plan or a training plan that suits that dog.
Mhm. So cool. So cool. So my next question for you is, what is the biggest way you impact the community?
Yeah, so I think a couple of ways. I think, we always we give a portion of our revenues every month to charities and local rescues, that kind of stuff. Um, but I think more importantly is we try to get the word out about how important it is to understand that the pet care industry as a whole and dog training as a whole are unregulated industries.
Mhm.
Anybody can do it. There's no special training, barrier to entry is low. So we do a lot of educating on how do you find the right dog walker? How do you find a dog trainer who's positive reinforcement and can get you the results you need? What are the credentials you should be looking for? And how do you get what you need from your pet in a manner that's safe and effective?
Yeah, that's incredible. Thank you for doing that. And as a newer puppy owner, there is so much that you don't know, and you think about, and like I was thinking back to my psychology class with the
Sure.
positive reinforcement, negative reinforcement. Like,
Yep,
how are we going to do this? Does the bell thing work with Pavlov's dog? All of this.
it
It's just
does.
fascinating. It does. Awesome. So thank you. So my next question for you is, what is one challenge that you have faced that other business owners could learn from?
Um, I think when we were first growing, like any small business, we took any client at all because it was just that desperation of I have to be successful. I
Yeah.
have to make this work. Um, I've really learned since then to zero in on who's my ideal client,
Mm,
what problems can we help them, uncover and help them solve, and just kind of staying on that focus, realizing that not every client is our ideal client. And that's okay. When that happens and we have someone who calls us and they're not a good fit, we are thrilled to refer them out to another company.
sure. That's so important. I love that you brought that up, because sometimes we do have to fire our clients, just like we
Yeah,
have to fire employees. Sometimes clients just don't fit your vision, mission, and culture. If they're abusive or, rude, it's yeah, it's okay to say no.
absolutely.
That's
And
in every
sometimes we're
area of our
not a good fit for our client. We have to remember that too. Like some clients call us and they don't want multiple dog walkers. They want just one walker all the time. And there's
yeah.
there's a niche for that. And I get that it's not something we can do. So then we have a network of other businesses that we would refer to.
Mhm.
Same thing with our training. We don't specialize in aggression or separation anxiety. When those cases come to us, as much as we want to help those clients, we're just not the right trainer for them. So then we refer them on to specialists that we know will do the same job, do it
Yeah.
well, and work with them.
Love that. And that's another thing we talk about too, is living in abundance and
Yes.
acknowledging our strengths and weaknesses and sharing that with other business owners is
Absolutely.
so cool. Thank you, Dawn.
Yeah.
So what does the future look like to you, and do you have an exit plan? I know you just started this venture, so share a little bit more about the future, please.
You know, we hope to have Canine Einstein keep growing and explore and expanding there. We offer group classes, private training, puppy socials, puppy play groups where we really supervise the play and teach the dogs how to interrupt play themselves. We, have private gym rentals, which is ideal for your shy, nervous, fearful dogs who are not as social, reactive dogs who just need a safe place to be off leash and explore and play. So
Yeah.
our goal is just to keep growing that and keep expanding the content that we put out there to help other pet owners understand the science and the knowledge behind what's going on. In terms of dog walking, I mean, we'll just keep walking. We love it. So I don't have an exit plan yet, but who knows?
Right. Well, keep doing what you're doing. You're doing great stuff. My
Thank
last
you.
question for you is all subjects open. Don, what inspires you most?
I think the fact, one, to never stop learning. I love learning. You know, Coming from social work, and then I went into learning about dog walking and dog behavior, and then I went into dog training. More recently, have become a licensed family dog mediator, which brings together those four components we talked about with learning, environment, genetics,
Mhm.
and the sentient self of the dog. And so that was, a class that's being offered. It's starting to change the dog industry. I love that. And most recently just started getting certified for canine fitness. So this
Yeah.
constant learning, I think, is important. And it's super inspiring for me to see how the industry is changing. It's becoming more collaborative, more positive, more focused on science and the pets, and less focused on obedience and do what I want, do what I
Mhm.
say because I've said it. It's more of a, how do we develop this relationship and get our pets to want to work with us, and how do we meet their needs, not just them meeting ours. I
Yeah.
love that. It just inspires me.
Absolutely inspiring. And I love
Thanks.
that you keep talking about the relationship between them, because that is truly what life is about, is learning
Yes,
relationships and connecting all of the dots. So thank you so
absolutely.
much. So Don, if somebody wants to connect with you or use your
Yep.
resources, go to Canine Einstein, get some dog walking, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you or your business?
Yeah, absolutely. So we have two websites. Milwaukee Paws is at milwaukeepaws.com. Canine Einstein is canine-einstein.com. Those are our two websites. And they can email me at dawn at Milwaukee Paws or dawn at canine-einstein.com.
Awesome. And if somebody, do you have social media? If somebody wants to check out some of the
Oh,
videos?
yes, of course. Sorry.
Yeah,
We
tell
have
me more.
Milwaukee Paws is on LinkedIn, Facebook, and Instagram.
Okay.
Canine Einstein is on Instagram and Facebook.
Awesome. Well, we
Well,
will
yep.
definitely be following you and watching the great stuff you're doing in the community. Thank you so much for your time today, Don.
Thank you. It was nice.
It's a pleasure.